It's an honor to meet you. I'm Yuto Lion. We are investigators belonging to the cross-faction Niantic investigation community project Lycaeum. I'm keeping many questions from Japanese agents,
Yes.
including me.
Okay.
May I ask you as long as time allows?
Yes. I'm mainly here to see if I can find Akira Tsukasa to ask her a few questions about November Lima. I think that she may know something about the death of Ezekiel Calvin and Jay Phillips. I thought she'd be at the funeral service. She didn't go. She doesn't have a lot really to worry about right now, it seems to me. She's in a good position. So I'm hoping that she'll find me here today in Osaka. And if not, that maybe she'll send me a message so I can go and meet her wherever she wants, because I have some very important questions that I would like to ask her. Also, I've always wanted to come to Japan, and my impression of Osaka is, in terms of XM energy and portals, it's amazing to me how dense the portal network is here, and how much XM activity, artwork, and landmarks associated with XM I've found throughout the city. I went to Osaka Castle and the museums nearby. There's a massive amount, like the XM is off the charts. It's not like anything I've ever seen before. So it shows there's a large amount, thank you, a very large amount of activity here. So it's fascinating for me to study that as well.
I think Osaka has a lot of energy.
Yes, yes, and I can tell from the agents on the ground already, and registration, this is going to be a very big day.
Yes.
Yeah. Misty's Mind Palace really was a warning. We learned that remote participation allowed the exogenous entities to come into this dimension and also into our minds. An an exogenous entity had entered Misty's mind, but something else happened. Misty sort of revealed some of her previous work in remote viewing and explained how she had formed the Mind Palace as a defense mechanism. The Mind Palace actually is a concept that goes back many, many centuries to the work of Cicero. It's also mentioned in Sherlock Holmes. And it was Misty's way of showing us an example of how to protect ourselves, and that we may actually, the time may be coming soon when we all have to learn how to do that, to protect our minds from unwanted influences.
So Misty made a mind press to protect herself and
Yes.
promote how to protect themselves.
Yeah, she was sort of showing an example of how you can construct something to safeguard one part of your mind so that you can't be completely taken over, and that you retain your own sense of free will. It's impossible not to be influenced by very strong energies. All the time we are influenced by things we read and things we see, but in the case of exogenous entities, it's hard to tell whether that's your own thoughts or the thoughts coming from the exogenous entity. And so by constructing the Mind Palace, only you know where you really are inside it at any given time. It's a way of making a mental defense.
Very psychiatric.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, the Exogenous Precursors, November Lima Project, the war in Washington. I think that Deborah Bogdanovich's research is going to be the key to connecting all of those things. Deborah, of course, is in Berlin right now. And also, I think she will find a connection to some of the early and present Niantic experiments. So I think it's all going to be tied together largely based on the work that Deborah is doing right now. Yeah, Hank thought it was Visur.
Visur?
Yeah, Visur. But that's what he thought. I'm not 100% certain he's right. But, you know, Hank's pretty smart. So for the time being, I'm gonna go with that answer until I find out something else. I always get this question. You know, can you tell me a secret that you haven't told yet? And you know, I try, because I hear a lot of information. I'm going through information, you know, every day. And when I post to the blog, I try as much as possible to report things that I've either been able to verify, or at least I know it's coming from a trusted source. And so I know things ahead of time, but I take a long time sometimes before I put them on the blog post, because there's plenty of rumors out there, and if I, you know, sometimes I get them wrong anyway, but I really try to filter out things that are just theories. If I hear it a number of times from different trusted sources, then I'm going to put it out. But for instance, there's a rumor that Hank Johnson is going to take over the NIA. You know, Hank Johnson is going to take, but that's just a rumor. So give me a break. I don't think that's happening. And if you throw things out there, you know, people are going to get very confused. But that's an example of a rumor that I'm not publishing that to the blog post, but that's a rumor that's been circulating. So Hank, if you're taking the job, let me know.
Cool. Okay.
That's interesting. I recall the story about Masatake going missing. I haven't heard about him in Arizona. So if there's if you have the information and a source, please send me the information. I'll look into the leads and see if I can find some other verification. I have a few sources in Arizona who might know something. Well, the profilers seem to rely on low-level technology that enables, you know, portal interface, and we've seen tech like that before. You know, in my notes, I think the Tecthulhu modules did more than capture creative and inspire, you know, energy of agents, and channel them into the portals. That was something else. The magic wasn't just in creating the portals, it was in creating a living, breathing transformer of reality. Yeah, I mean, Hasdata and IQ Tech are kind of like, you know, remoras on the shark that is the NIA and the U.S. government. So, you know, they're both basically black ops lab research programs, and they're symbiotes. So they exist on a host. It wouldn't be a surprise that information would move back and forth between them because they basically consider that they're, paid by the same source. They essentially work for, some branch of the government. They're on the same payroll, so I'm not sure which side that is, but they believe it's the same side. That's not confirmed yet, but it could be true. I haven't heard directly from the Acolyte or a source connected to the Acolyte or Jahan in quite a bit of time. And what that tells me is they're probably working on something, because when they're quiet, it usually means that they're studying, because otherwise they would be out, sending ideas and messages into the world. When they're quiet, I worry. So I'm not sure what the Acolyte and Jahan are working on right now, but it could be big. Sure. Like I said, the activity I see here on the ground in Japan is unlike almost any other place that I've been to, and it shows an amazing amount of dedication to the investigation and to creating portal networks, creating missions. There's a lot of energy amongst the agents here. I'm also very glad to see that there is a good amount of more balance between resistance and enlightened agents than I had thought. I had thought, that resistance agents, in Japan, were not able to maintain a strong presence, but I'm very happy to see that today I've seen a lot of resistance players on the ground. And it's always important to remember in this, that even though it feels like we have two sides, we have the enlightened who believe one thing, and we have the resistance that believes another thing. I really believe, as a truth seeker, that we will find the answers because we keep questioning each other. And it's only through this interaction that we'll arrive at the truth. If only one side were investigating these ideas, you wouldn't have critical thinking about what the truth really means. It's very hard to get the big picture, but I think here in Japan you have a very promising chance to find the truth. So, as always, I would suggest to Japan agents in Japan, seek the truth.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. I think that our investigation will progress with this.
Thank you.
Finally, I present to some intel about NL Prime.
Okay. On your, you have a code.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll look it up.
Yeah.
I will look up your code. So, is this? Do I need to safeguard my my computer when I search this code, or it's safe? We're not sure. I'll take my precautions.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
This is Wayne.
Yes. Oh, thank you.
He's white.
Oh, sure. You want me to sign? Hang on, I have a marker.
Another truth seeker awaits again.
Huh? 幸せな様子を。
Yeah. Of course.